Okay, first time doing this way. It's been a long time coming, and it's apparently like the same exact time that somebody wants to come over and peer over me and watch from a hill. I don't know. Damn. At least I made it out. At least I'm recording. That was pretty obnoxious. He kind of panicked. There's a guy up there. He started the conversation though. It was pretty much. What the heck? No, I'm hearing things. But there's a guy on that hill, talking about, hey neighbor. And then there's people on this hill, talking about, what's your name? And the people on the other one who initiated the conversation didn't say anything. And this guy just kind of panicked because he's also with two ladies, so I'm assuming he didn't want to look stupid, but he made himself look even more stupid. He continued to say, what's your name, what's your name, what's your name, over and over again. And I really didn't want to do this with an audience, and I always wanted to dive into it and just start doing things. And I wanted to be in the most comfortable position that I could possibly be in. But each time we've tried to do something like this, and by we I mean Alex and Maya and Noah, each time we tried, it's been, something messing up. Like the first time I tried, I wanted to use a freehand microphone, and we just kind of got better. We evolved. The freehand microphone aspect was just a dream. It just would have been for the aesthetic, but it ended up being something to stab me in the back because I just didn't check to see if it was recording or not. But the adapter for my mic and the phone was loose and only recorded the first minute out of a 45 or maybe like an hour long session of recording. I also accidentally deleted on my DSLR, but I have the other footage from the GoPros, but I just kind of started failing. Well, my main concern is I hope we find like a good spot, bro.
Yeah.
Because now
we got that tree, bro. What are you talking about?
But people are gonna be walking around, man.
Yeah, it's gonna have to be that way.
Yeah, but I think we should be able to spread out.
There's not that many people that walk by there though, like, cause it's like all like on this.
There are though.
It's like on that little narrow path. There's only like.
There'll be people walking behind us and in front of us if we go on that tree.
You think?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, in front, yeah. But behind, not as much. And not a lot of people like to take that narrow path. That little skinny one.
Where that fence is?
Yeah. I think we'll see, I guess.
Alright. The audio wasn't attached, so I think it might have jiggled out or something. It only recorded 40 seconds of audio.
Yeah.
So we got the really dope shots though. So it's chill, At least we came out. We did it.
We did it. Yeah.
But this is a good spot though.
Sounds and like I was about to suggest like voice record, but it's so difficult because you're just kind of freestyling.
I am. But I felt great. I felt so good, bro.
Yeah. Oh, that's all good.
Because I know that this location works for sure.
Yeah.
So I want to try a different one. Alright, let's get the fuck out of here, bro.
Before we lose all the light, man.
And then the next time we went to a different location. We at least knew that the locations worked. We were able to get something that looked good. And I don't even know if that dude's up there. Everybody's gone now. Right after I started talking, it got comfortable somewhat. Forgot what I was talking about. Yeah, the second time we went out and did it, I forgot the tripod. We came here. We at least, I mean, at least we knew that that the locations worked, and you know, we can get something that looks cinematic and really good. But then we come out and try a different location because, you know, at least we knew that we had that location in the bank.
We made it.
So then we come out here, and we actually came out here with different locations in mind and in the area. More greenery, but just kind of behind really where I'm talking about, honestly. I ended up going out with Noah, Samaya, and Alex, and Noah ended up walking up a hill, and then we were just kind of switching things up a bit.
That looks kind of nice. Oh my gosh.
And then we came down the hill on the other side, and we found this pit, and now I'm kind of just chilling on a fallen tree, which is pretty dope. And you know, I think it looked pretty cool. So we set it up. We were all lined up on this log and had the camera there, and there. And we were kind of going through it. I think that's gonna be like a podcast.
Yeah.
You know, it was right before the
That fool
pandemic.
might be dead.
Right?
Shit, man. How old was he? Okay.
He was pretty old, dude. You know, he was probably like at least 60 something.
60.
Oh yeah, he's dead, bro.
Alright, Peter. Moment of silence, man. Moment of silence.
Honestly, I'd rather have it be the four of us, but I'm thinking about turning it into a show right now. I bet you this plane's getting in. One plane after another. Thinking about turning it into a show because these opinions we have, the more we talk about it, the more we actually discuss it, the more interesting the idea and concept becomes as a whole. And I would love to be able to actually follow through on these things and develop them and, you know, grow them and, you know, and actually, you know, obtain some sort of audience that I feel like would be like-minded or, you know, similar to us in a lot of ways. Because ultimately we would want to put something out there that we would want to watch, you know, we want to consume, you know, we wouldn't want to just put anything out there. But ultimately, that's for the show. But this stuff, I also learned, you know, just kind of going through it, I also learned that I want to do this stuff on my own. Like, there's certain stuff I want to talk about by myself and video log for myself, you know, to have and also post, but then, you know, to ultimately look back on and, you know, and see what I was going through when I was going through it, what was on my mind when things were going down, certain events in my life, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, this is the first time I actually was able to come out and do it on my own. I've been wanting to do this since high school, and I was like writing sermons. I was a big Bible study boy, and I ended up doing sermons, and then I recorded myself doing a sermon in high school. Change is scary, but in the end, it's absolutely necessary. Or not really doing a sermon, but I like wrote out an entire sermon, and I recorded myself doing it kind of funny and everything. For example, Romans chapter 12 verse 2, do not copy the behaviors and customs of this world, but let God transform you into a new person by changing the way you think. Then, and only then, will you learn to know God's will for you, which is good and pleasing and perfect. I ended up being really cringy, I think, in the end, but I showed my friends in college, and then they were like, hey, I see what you're doing. You were speaking on your speaker box, but it wasn't really it. And then they wouldn't really watched it. So those were my close friends. Those were my friends. I think that ultimately, you know, stopped me from, you know, doing anything else like that, putting that much effort into anything like that. Because I ended up doing it for other people before myself, and there was nothing that ever came of it either. And I had put more effort into doing it for them because, you know, I felt like they were really gonna make something of it. It never happened. then I just came back on me and was like, why can't I just do it for myself? You know, why do I need somebody else to do it? Why do I feel like I need to do it as a group? Why can't I just go out and do it myself, you know, and have it, you know, be for myself? What am I doing it for? And everything kind of came to this. That's a loud Dang. Dang. Those are some loud planes. Yeah, I don't even remember what I was talking about anymore. But it came to this, and I'm really glad I was able to muster up the courage to come out and do this, and you know, because I feel like it's been a long time coming, and I think I'm gonna be happy with the way it turns out, because there's been a lot on my mind. I think been meaning to talk about it. There's this whole spiel I used to say as far as what I would say in an interview, you know, the stuff that people would want to hear. Graduated from Cal State Northridge year 2020, film production degree with an emphasis in editing. I'm like certified editor, or certified in the software that's the industry standard that movies are edited on and everything. Got a chance to write and direct my senior thesis, just like a short script, a 15-minute short, and it won a first place in the CSU Arts and Media Festival. The film, right, is called Cuffed, and it's about, you know, how I pitched it before is two young black boys in high school get caught in the wrong place at the wrong time by the police, and although they escape, their freedom doesn't last very long. And what I was trying to say was to ultimately set aside your differences and work together, because two main characters get handcuffed to each other, and they're on two polar opposite ends of the black community, one hood, one good, forced to work together, set aside the differences and work together. That's what it was at the beginning, but ultimately, you know, I learned that here comes another plane. It could be the same plane. That's low too. That's what it was about. But then I also got a chance to do this internship for the Academy, or it's affiliated with the Academy. It's called Academy Gold, or it's called Academy Gold Rising now. I got in for editing as well, but I also raised my hand to act in some of the projects that we're supposed to do in the end. 1 script, 5 groups, 5 different genres, and I got to act in 4 of them, and I edited 3. It was really fun, you know, I had a really good time. I ended up getting 2 mentors from the program. One was for editing. He was from the UK, kind of didn't have a lot to vibe with. We were on different frequencies for a little bit of it, but then when he came over to CSUN, he ultimately revealing to me that, you know, it was his first time on an American university, you know, campus or whatever, so kind of understood. But he ultimately stopped talking to me when I was trying to edit together a trailer for my short, and it was before the pandemic, so I hope he's okay, and I, you know, wish him all the best.
I know you're not calling me weird, but you are the same dude who eats his Oreos with a fork.
Yeah, bro, a fork. Take the fork, stick it in the cookie, and cook it in the milk, nigga, period. You grew up sheltered as fuck. You ain't been to Southside.
I'm just scared, Reggie. I mean, I'm way out of my element here.
Once we get out, head back to the school. We find Val. She can get us back to the crib.
But sorry, Carter. You never can be too careful. That's why I moved this store here. It's much safer than Southside.
Hey, listen the fuck up. Listen up. Get your ass over here.
Okay.
Sit down. I don't want to hear none of that. Open that shit up.
What if they think we did it? We can't just run.
Nigga, they already think we did it.
Please, don't move. Hands where I can see him.
Get to you smart.
You do know the police's job is to protect us, right?
But you don't know shit about the streets. You talk too much. Even to the damn police.
We need each other to work together, okay? Okay?
I did get an acting mentor, and it ended up being Sterling K. Brown. He was super dope. We ended up meeting at the Samuel Goldwyn Theater at the like mentor-mentee meetup for the program, and everybody gets mentors. It's not just, you know, select people. If you're in the program, you're supposed to get a mentor after. For example, one of my friends, Shari, she ended up getting you know, the person who created the Chucky doll, and like was a producer for Chucky and started the Chucky franchise, or was part of the production and started the Chucky franchise. And he's been super cool. And you know, it's hit or miss with a lot of people, but for the most part, you know, you take advantage of what you have and try to use what you got to your advantage. in any case, right? Sterling was dope. He ended up taking time out of his schedule to come. He ended up taking time out of his schedule to come from New York to see his family, to see my set when we were shooting in Northridge, back to New York and starting and continuing to film his show, This Is Us. Yeah, he came to set and like, it was super cool. He was super dope, really down to earth, regular guy, very humble, super muscular, right? Super fit build. I was also on the track team at Cal State Northridge. I never mentioned that in interviews because it's like, it really doesn't. Unless it's really brought up in conversation, sports is not really a topic of the conversation. Like, I'm not trying to get a job. And I don't really watch sports like that, so it's not really about to happen unless they bring it up. And otherwise, I was like, oh yeah, I ran track there. Otherwise, it's like, it's not really helping me get anywhere anymore. Otherwise, it was useful, and it did serve a purpose, which helped me and my mom pay for college. And I was on scholarship D1. It was nice. It looks nice and it feels nice, but ultimately, I'm not saying I regret anything, but I also had a very interesting track and field experience. And I don't think that's anything special when I'm talking about, a college athlete's, college experience, because for the most part, and, from college athletes who I've talked to and, family members, friends and teammates and all sports across, it's just rough. It's tough, not getting paid. If the coaches aren't fair, and that's a really big understatement. You're not treated right, you're spoken to poorly. Sometimes you try and be open for questions and ready to receive questions, but then ultimately we'll get scolded. The athletes will get scolded for asking questions, and it's a lot of ego. It's a lot of ego, a lot of mental combat that goes along with this. I don't even know why. Oh yeah, so I pretty much just kind of leave that out of the interview, so I don't talk about track very much. There are stories that I have, and it's a huge part of my life, and the people were at a certain point in my life, a huge influence, a huge impact in who I am today, so I'm very thankful for those people as well. I don't talk to a lot of those people anymore. Just like track, also the Bible study, like how I mentioned before, two completely different aspects of my life that are just kind of muted for the moment. It seems like, or just kind of moved on from. I guess I was talking about work and everything. Sterling also gave me the opportunity to visit This Is Us on set at Paramount Studios, and I got to go for 2 days, and on the site it was really really cool. I got to ask so many questions and meet everybody. Omar Epps, a lot of the cast. I also was able to meet with him, or Sterling. Damn, there's so many planes. I hate planes. I got a chance to talk with him on the second day of me visiting, and it was a one-on-one, just kind of in his trailer. We ended up kind of hashing it out, and we got emotional for the one time, talked about a lot of things, family, and what it really means to be doing what we're doing, and where I'm supposed to be going, what it all means. I feel like all this stuff is happening for a reason, and he was able to help me through a lot of that stuff. I feel like his words are very precious, and in that experience, very helpful. Further along the way, I'm nearing the end of college, or at least my junior year, because it's still 2019. I ended up writing a character for Sterling. The reason being because a huge factor that stood out about the short at the time was that it needed to be more open. The world needed to be open more, and there was a pacing issue. The pace needed to be fixed or tweaked, and so I wrote a character for Sterling, a narrator character, kind of narrating the events kind of throughout the short, just in case we weren't able to get his face in it, we weren't able to record him to do anything. At the very least, we were able to get his voice recorded.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is 105.1 The Ridge. It's your boy Danny Dubois here to wake you up with all the noise with The Ridge's monthly recap. Even if you were living under a rock, you can count on me to turn back the clock.
Action 7.
All write this thing for him with the intention of broadening the world of the short and fixing the pace. And I asked him if he would voice this character, and he says yes. And we set the appointment up with Haley, his assistant, who's been super awesome. She was really dope. Like, she's been there every step of the way throughout the story as well. And she's been super cool to talk to about stuff, to also, especially with my career and everything, or at least just career stuff in general. Go over to Paramount Studios. We only have 1 hour to really, get this thing done. But we planned so well. Chandler, the cinematographer, Chandler Locke, sound, Brian Diener, who also provided the police cars and was like super clutch with so many things in so many ways. They were able to teach me some of the camera stuff. Oh yeah, we only had 1 hour and we only ended up needing 45 minutes to get done what we needed to get done. Sterling ended up having his earliest call time at 2 a.m. and we had him at 2 p.m. When I saw him, we had everything all set up. We got there 30 minutes early, set everything up, and we were waiting for him when he got there. His eyes were bloodshot red, but we were ready for him, and I had all my slides ready for him to say, and I had kind of like, not, necessarily practiced, but I had exactly what I had heard him say, like, and how he said it. The line. I had the way I wanted to hear him say it in my head, but as we went through, his takes were like dead on, almost exactly how I heard him say it.
In other news this month, the heat has been at an all-time record high in Stockridge and Southside, which means it's hot. So stay hydrated if you know what's good for you, and if you didn't know, now you know.
And then I just kind of tweaked it without having to give him, obviously the line. I was just kind of giving him exaggerations of events and when you would say something like this line, as if you were just kind of lobbing the line, or you're just kind of tossing the information out to people, or like that's kind of like how I was saying stuff.
Please send blessings and prayers to the friends and loved ones of the Paxton family. Another baby gone too soon. Are we driving each other to insanity? Or does the world need to be redone? He was an unarmed black boy, a kid, just one. Maybe we should take a step back and look at the bigger picture. Wake up, world. This is your boy Danny Dubois signing off. And do me a favor. Have a nice night.
Nice.
Give me something.
What if we did... The word I'm looking for is probably like reassuring, super empathetic. Okay. Probably all of those 4 words. Have a nice night. Like super relieving. Like, okay. With all that tension that you kind of just said, you kind of want to get back to your, hey, I'm still neutral. Maybe,
Okay. Okay, got you.
I was thinking about getting a picture.
Do what you gotta do.
Sweet.
It was clicking, it was working, and like I said, we only needed 45 minutes to do what we needed to do and get out of there. It was all good, and I'm so thankful for it. It was a really dope experience, and Sterling was really fun, and he's really great. He's a really great guy, and so is Haley. Haley's a great person, she's a great woman. I had to ask him though, obviously if I was able to get his face in there, because we had the camera set up similarly to how I have it now, ready, just in case. He said yes, but it was ultimately up to his publicist. So everything worked out, and it was beautiful, and it's still beautiful. Then there came to be I'll just call it a creative difference with the editors, and it was a really sad situation, and it's a whole other predicament. And all of this isn't exactly what I would go into with the interview, but obviously just kind of here now talking. And this is how I see it, and ultimately this is the stuff that I would talk about. Like, there is a creative difference with the editors just before the pandemic. And the short was supposed to premiere at the Samuel Goldwyn Theater in May of 2020, and the pandemic started, or the quarantine started in March. Creative difference in March, and then pandemic for the rest of 2020. And it was kind of whack, you know. I didn't have my footage. I didn't have access to the footage, and there wasn't a lot of people. Oh, there wasn't a lot I could do, but there wasn't a lot anybody could do just because of how the world felt like it was ending. Yeah, I was just kind of in turmoil. I was writing music, trying to make beats. I was doing all this other stuff. I was writing script. I was writing again. It was hard to write. There was so much going on in my life during the pandemic, as I'm aware as everybody else's life, and everybody was going through it in their own way. And in my way, I do see it as brutal. It was brutal through my lens, but it was brutal through just kind of being on the outside perspective of other people's lives. You know, it was hard watching the brutality of the year take its course over other people. I was trying my best to keep composure and like stay doing something, always keeping busy, trying to find a job. Ultimately, I was able to get the footage back, and I get new editors and continue to work on the project. And I was able to get a job at Target following year, I think around like either May of 2021. I ended up working all the way till August. So I ended up working at Target in the food and beverage department, in the freezers, you know, in the back, holding these giant pallets of food and like from one side of the store to the other, and then, you know, maneuvering them into the freezers in the back of Target. I did that for a while, you know. It was what it was. I didn't really want to talk to anybody. I was always eating lunch in my car. I just had the mentality that I just wasn't trying to stay here for much longer. I ended up staying there for 5 months. But then, you know, after 3 months, it started to set in like, oh, I could stay here for 3 years. You know, there's no real cap on it. I might not. There's no telling when I might get an industry job. It's like I'm applying, and the jobs are even coming from the Academy Gold. Very scarce, very competitive to get these jobs. And it was tough, it was rough, but ultimately I got over my funk and started talking to, wow, there's a hummingbird. And the head was completely pink. It was like really pink. Like body as green as the grass here in the greenery, but the head was like pink. Yes, I was working at Target. Next thing you know, I'm also looking for an apartment though, because I'm realizing, you know, living with my mom and going from not living with your mom and then living with your mom, and then yeah, you kind of want to not live with your mom again, or at least that's just from my experience. I have nothing against my mom or anything, but it's just like I felt like I'd grown past a part where I don't need to be sharing space with my mother anymore. And for the space that I'm talking about, you know, maybe it's just my insecurities, or just I just don't feel like I need to be bringing girls. I don't know, you know what I'm saying? I don't feel like I need to be bringing girls back to my mom's place. I did that once and I felt uncomfortable and I never did again. You know, went down or whatever, but like it still wasn't the business, because I felt like everybody needs their space, even my mom. And for what I was going through in my head, for whatever angst I had, for whatever was going on in my head, I was working out. You know, I was also afraid to take out some of my frustrations and express myself improperly in front of her and just kind of stink up the vibe in her house, you know, in her space. So I started looking about how to get the heck out. Found a place in downtown LA, right in between the Staples Center, crypto.com stadium or whatever, I don't know. But it's right in between there and in USC. So I got a place right in downtown, and small place, 120 square foot place. You got a little bathroom and everything, and, you know, mini fridge, microwave, TV, desk, computer, little mini stove. I got, you know, a bed, you feel me? I got all I really need to thrive. It's been what, since August? So yeah, it's almost been, I guess, like 6 months since August. Yeah, just about 6 months since I've been working there or living there. And definitely don't need to live there any longer than a year, because that's when my lease is up. But yeah, I can definitely see myself going for an upgrade after that period of time, because you know, I find myself talking about like, oh, well, I totally understand, I could have waited, but I really couldn't have waited. I needed to get out the house. I needed to go and like see where I'm at, like see where all of what I had been doing could take me, you know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't have a lot of money saved up, but I had put in my 2 weeks at Target before I had a job, and I was just gonna move out and like figure it out. That's how it was at. But luckily on that Monday that I put my 2 weeks in, my friend Shari, who I mentioned before, threw my resume out there as a lob because she wasn't able to do this job, and it was a production assistant job for Nickelodeon at the Burbank studios. And at the time I didn't know what it was for, but it ultimately ended up being for a live action sitcom version of The Fairly Odd Parents. Like I said, at the time I didn't know what it was for, but I was just grinding, I was hustling, I was like, of course. And I have been interviewing, but this one was interesting because it was like urgent. Like they always say it's urgent, but it's urgent when they're emailing you and like asking you to interview like in a few hours. And I'm at work and I'm at lunch, you know, in the car talking about, my friend Shari, you know, she wasn't able to do it as my interview because she's on some other stuff. She actually ended up submitting this idea of hers for a 6 to 11-year-old animated TV series to DreamWorks and Universal, and she had wrote it all out and submitted it and won first place. And now she's getting another idea and all this other help, but also she's getting another idea looked at for it to be pitched and to be, you know, made into an actual series on, you know, some streaming service. Or she's also got her main idea, you know, in their back pocket, but she's got these access to mentors and writing mentors and all these possibilities open to her that are super awesome for her. So she was able to throw, you know, my resume out as a lob, and I was just trying to take advantage of it, like in my car, like really sweaty, because, you know, job takes a lot of physical labor, pushing myself, and then I'm willing to serve, because my story, I guess, to a lot of people sound like I was kind of on a roll, right? And asking me to be a PA, I guess, is odd. It sounds like, but for the most part, like, if you're taking what I'm telling them, you know, I'm not afraid to serve. I'm just looking to get my foot in the door for real, looking to learn and absorb as much as I can. You know, you're gonna learn so much more at the bottom than you ever are gonna at the top. So yeah, I'm just that guy. I'm just like really out here trying to learn. I don't know. I ended up meeting somebody to work for Thursday, and I was working at Target in the freezers on Wednesday, and at Burbank Studios for Nickelodeon on Thursday at a desk, behind a desk at a computer. I was loving it, and it was so cool. I ended up making a lot of connections. The people were so nice. I was able to take on a lot of responsibilities, also make a lot of mistakes, but also cover from those mistakes and learn from them. Yeah, I was like really happy and proud of what I was doing, because I didn't have that cloud over me, thinking like there was no way, you know, soon of me getting my foot in the door, because my foot was already in the door. And I was like, all right, where do I go, right? Now, where do I wander? Ended up talking to the assistant editors, right? Because that's my major. I also tried to freelance when the pandemic first happened, and like when the pandemic first happened, and I tried to freelance. That equation, you know, you're not gonna. It wasn't a good experience. Not a lot of people, not a lot of work to try to do it properly. The guidelines weren't really out there yet, so I had to Target. Then I talked to a few assistant editors and production coordinators, post-production coordinators, right? I learned that I don't think I want to edit. I don't think, you know, I want to take the editing route to become a director. Ultimately, I was trying to be an editor to make money and work toward and hone in my skills and become a director. But, you know, this whole experience with Cuffed, and I didn't even finish. I mean, I got the footage back and a new editor, and ultimately was able to get my vision completely expressed. And I told the professors, and they were with it, and they even were able to say like they thought it was poetic the way I included Sterling's dialogue throughout the film. And they ended up saying ultimately the weakest aspect, they told me, was the montage at the beginning, and they told me that they would pay for the stock footage. Yeah, so I went through it. At that point I was working for Nickelodeon, so I was able to do it at work, and half of the ones that I picked we weren't able to use because of licensing, so we had to pick through them again and have the budget in mind. And they said they were paid for it, so they paid for it, and it's locked, and it's picture locked. We got it to the way I like it, and I'm ready. I can present it to people. I'm ready for it to be premiered, or at least I'm ready for it to get colored, and then I'm ready for the sound and music to get finished. And that's what we're in the process of finishing right now. And we're tweaking the edit. We're tweaking the credits right now. Tweaking the credits, color, sound, and music. And then hopefully the premiere at Samuel Goldwyn Theater will be in May, hopefully in springtime. That'd be great. And that's why I love that I'm starting this now, because like I said, it's been a long time coming. I ended up reaching out to a lot of people, learning, how to be a good production assistant, doing well. And at the job, I was able to secure another one for a pilot in the same building called New to This Planet. And it was for a director that, ooh, see, you're chilling right there, but you're not the one that was the pink head. I won't call you Pinkhead again, bro. I'm sorry, bro. Come back. Anyway, yeah, that was messed up. I shouldn't call birds Pinkhead. I'm gonna stop saying Pinkhead. So the director for this pilot directed 2 episodes of Fairly Odd Parents. They were honestly the funniest and also the most efficient episodes that we had, personally, in my opinion. I said what's up to him. He always has like a very single colored tracksuit, from toes to the, to the hoodie. He's a black dude, so I was really interested in talking with him. His name is Leonard R. Gardner Jr. His resume is stacked. If you looked him up on IMDb, he's got freaking Sister, Williams Brothers, but then he's got, That's So Raven, but then he's got also the more recent shows. He's got Raven's Home, talking about, like, he's an OG, like, he is a legend. Sent him an email talking about Love the Bigger Brain and everything. That's who I am. Was also speaking to the stage PA, Special K. I'm not even gonna say her real name because that's how I know her, that's how I met her, so it's Special K. Whatever that's supposed to mean to whoever, that's what her name is. She was dope. She was recommended by Lenny, so it's like she was letting me know that he's open to talking the next generation, like he's trying to help. And he's already got a lot of people that he's helping. Reached out to him. I also reached out to the first assistant directors, Robin Wiley Pratt and Deborah Devon, I believe. Deborah, Robin, and Lenny all went to this assistant directing training program, and Robin has helped a lot of people get into that program. I talked to all of them, not at the same time, but when I was talking to Deborah, she was mentioning, and this is after I expressed to them who I was and what I've been about, and they were like, oh, well, you're good, ultimately, oh, I see what you're doing. Like, they put their shoulders back, and they're like, oh, well, you're just doing what you're doing. I'm like, thanks, right? But Deborah asked me, like, what it is I wanted to do, and I was like, yeah, direct, but then she was like, no, the broader question, like, it's a bigger question now, and what you want to do is, like, what you want to do with your life, like, what type of lifestyle are you trying to project yourself into living? I was like, wow, like, I wasn't really trying to think about it. At 7 a.m, that's kind of heavy. I might have to take a knee. So, but ultimately too, is like, because the pandemic and the brutality of it, and like thinking about all that stuff is kind of overwhelming to a certain degree, because I hadn't thought about it for a while, and I had told her that, and, she was real about it. She she understood. She had only asked is because she has friends where it's like, you get to a certain age, you're past having kids, or you're thinking about adopting, or at least you're not in one spot. Having kids isn't really an option because you're still working and traveling, and you're going to Russia and in Europe, and you're having all this really fun, ultimately really dope time doing what you love. But then there is also the other aspect of doing what you love and staying in one spot and getting a chance to settle down and finding love within the industry and having kids. And the main difference between those aspects of life is a multi-cam being the settle down vibe, and single cam being the drifter, lone wolf. I don't want to say it like that, but entrepreneur vibe, I guess. And yeah, like, I never really thought about it, and she was able to open up to me about some of her life experiences and how she got to where she was from the production side, and then finding the assistant director's training program, and then ultimately becoming an assistant director. But both Deborah and Robin, I think, still want to direct, or at least I know Robin, that's still her goal. But when I talked to Lenny, he said that's not that assistant directing training program that's going to help to be a director. It was DGA, Directors Development Initiative for Television Mentorship Program. I was like, oh, dang. So, but then he told me that in order to apply, you needed to direct an episode or 2 in order to get and apply to that Directors Initiative for the DGA. He'll also let me know that there are other programs, director development programs through the DGA for like Viacom, Warner Brothers, and Viacom, Warner Brothers. That's all that's coming to mind right now, I guess. In order to apply to those, all you would need to know, or all you would need to do, along with your application is have a short and to show what you can do. So I need to look further into what I need to do to get in those programs right now, because I think that's the trajectory that I want to go in. That's just because of networking and finding a path. I think ultimately I do want more experience as a PA, or at least a stage PA, or if I can try to be a director's assistant, that'd be dope. But ultimately it's just rough because of COVID and being on set, and it is like that. It is absolutely 100% like that as to who can and cannot come to set. It's like that. Ideally, yeah, a director's assistant going into the development programs, and then the director's development initiative. That kind of sounds cool to me, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I think that's it. I think that's it for now. It's gonna get dark soon. Next time I'm gonna come and it's gonna be brighter, and it's gonna be hopefully better lighting.